Hi everybody, my name is Jenna. I am slowly weaseling my way into all of your classes, and today I'm going to teach you how to knit on a machine. So, first things first, we have 3 different machines at Upwa. So we've got the 150 needle machine, which is used for chunky knits. I would say probably size like 4 yarn to 7 maybe. That's like a good range to keep it in. We also have rib knit machines, which I will not be teaching you because I don't even know how to use them. And then the 200 needle machines, which are like those back 7 over there, or 200 needle machine. I don't know if I said that. So that's for like size, I don't know, like 2 to 4, 0 to 4, but it's for smaller yarns. So the only difference between the 150 needle machine and the 200 needle machine is that the needles on this one are bigger and they're more spaced out. That's the only difference. So they're set up the same way and they run the same way. So I'm going to teach you guys how to do it on the chunky machines because it's a little bit easier to see, and then you'll know how to use 2 out of the 3 machines here. So, okay, let's talk about how it's set up. I'm going to move you guys around so we can get a little bit closer look. Okay, so we're going to start out with our skein or our ball or our cone of yarn. Preferably use a cone. I feel like that's the easiest method because when you're using the machine, it's gonna like unravel itself and the cone just like naturally unravels. With a skein or a ball, you have to make sure that like you are like moving it and unraveling some of the yarn yourself so that there's like a little pile right here that can easily, you know, be pulled to use through the carriage. So first things first, you're going to start with your ball down here with a little bit of extra yarn, and you're going to go through this first flat loop through the bottom and up around it. So it looks like a little triangle right here. It doesn't matter which one you go through as long as you stay on the same side all the way up. Okay? From here, you are going to go up through this little knob. You're gonna go in the back of it. Let me see if I can get a better angle. Okay, this is the knob that you're gonna go through. You're gonna go around the back of it. So you go through this bottom loop, you're gonna go up, right? And then you're gonna take your yarn and you're just gonna go around the back of it forward. And then you can adjust this to be tighter or looser. Okay, so mine's at about a 6 right now. From here, you're gonna go through what we call the little alligator snout, which doesn't really look like an alligator snout on the chunky machines, but it does on the smaller machines, so bear with me. So you're gonna go through like the little nostril, if you will, through the back. You're gonna pull it tight. And then you're gonna take an antenna. So one of these little boys back here, pull it forward, and you're gonna take that yarn through the back and it's gonna go forward. So it should kind of be like laying, let's see if I can move this camera. It should be kind of like laying in front of the machine. And one more thing, once your machine is all set up, you can use this little plastic bit right here and loop your yarn around and never have to worry about it again. It'll just keep it there until you're ready to use it again. Okay, now let's talk about the carriage. So this is your carriage right here. So this is kind of where you're gonna thread the yarn through, and you're gonna use this to knit. So let me show you a couple little different things about the carriage. First thing is this tension rod. So these all settings are like for different styles of knitting, specifically when you use a punch card, and we're not going to be using punch cards for a while, so we're going to be sticking it on O. Okay, that's like the standard. This tension right here determines how tight your loops are going to be or how loose they're going to be. So 0 is like your tightest, and then 10 is your loosest. And then these little puppies right here, this is where your yarn's gonna go in. If you have 2 different color yarns, then you're gonna follow these 1 and 2 labels that you can see. But That's not important when we're learning our just one yarn, so you're fine right now. And then what else should I tell you about? You want to keep both of these on the 2. Okay, so that's the 2, like little Roman numerals. Okay, you want to keep them on 2. Otherwise, you're not going to catch loops on any of them. And then these stay down so that the little brush isn't up against the needles. Okay, I'm switching angles. I'm going to show you guys how to cast on again from this angle. So you got your yarn, right? And you want to measure it out. So I would say like at least 2 times the length of your needles. So I would do, I'm honestly going to do 3 just for safety. So you're going to go through and stick your yarn into this little section right here. Flip the lever back over so it's locked in at 1, okay? From here, I'm gonna move you a little bit closer. Okay, from here, you're gonna make sure that all of these little levers are open. Okay, and we're gonna E-wrap. So what you do is you start, I like to hold my yarn under the needle, and you're gonna start from the right, and then you're gonna go over the left of the needle. So you're gonna start on the right of the needle, you're gonna go over the left of the needle. It looks like a lowercase e. You're gonna start on the right of the needle, go over the left of it, and under. So start on the right side, from under, go over onto the left side, and go under. So you're just gonna keep doing that all the way through, and you're gonna listen to the sirens as you cast on, and there you go. Once you have all of your loops done on all your needles, you're gonna find the butterfly clip that you just lost and hook it on right there so that it stays tense. Okay. After that, you're gonna make sure that all your other needles are in the A position. Check all of your stuff again. And I like to pull this a little bit tight just to make sure that, oh, you can't see. I'm pulling the end of the yarn tight towards the ball again, just to make sure that there isn't excess and it's not getting stuck. Hope for the best. You might have to push a little bit. Oh my gosh. How does she do that? Okay. I don't think I should edit that out because I feel like that is pretty accurate. So that's, I'm gonna change because that was a little bit tight and it was a little bit scary. I am going to change the tension to 8 on the carriage over here, okay? And then you're gonna push all of your needles out and keep the loops on them. So keep your fingers up against this row of, this bar right here, and you're gonna push the needles out so the loops are staying on the needle. All of these little spoons are flipped down, and then you're gonna hope for the best again. Okay, so you're gonna go back across. See, that was so much better, and I just hit my phone, I'm so sorry. That was so much better, so I'm gonna keep it at 8 tension. And that's the thing about knitting on the machines. They can tell when you're nervous, and sometimes they just take a little bit of practice to like figure out what works best with each yarn. So that's why we do swatches before we do anything on the machines. Okay, so again, we're gonna push all of these out. Can you see that the knits are starting to form? Okay, and I'm gonna get the carriage ready. And you're gonna go back across. Oh my gosh, that is, the 8 tension is so much better than the 7. So much better. And when you are doing knits on the machine, so you just keep doing this for about, I would say almost like 10 rows until you can get one of these weights on them without interfering with the machine. Okay? So I would say about 10 rows on the chunky machine, maybe even like 20 rows on the smaller machine. I would say that's probably safe. Okay. And a little tip when you are working on the machine is to not send your carriage super far past your knit. Okay? Because otherwise you're gonna have all this extra yarn and it's gonna like start looping in weird spots and it's not gonna be super fun. Now, do you guys see how there's like 2 loops right here that are stuck? Can you see that? This is 1 and 2. So that means that the yarn didn't catch all the way. It didn't loop through all the way. So you're gonna take the yarn that's in front. When this happens, just take the yarn that's in front. You're gonna set it in front of this like little spoon latch thing for the crochet hook, and you're gonna close it up. Then what you're gonna do is by hand, you're gonna pull this loop through the other loop and then push it back out, okay? That's it. That's all it did. Everything is okay again. The world is right again. So, and then we keep knitting. Just keep an eye on all your loops. Make sure that they're all okay. Okay, and now, oh my gosh, look, can you guys see that? Love, okay. So now that there's enough room to get a weight on this sucker, I'm gonna do just 1 weight. You could do, it's like the longer that your knit is gonna be, the more weights you would need. If you have like a really big, or like a really long knit, you'd probably use like a couple of these, or like just a million of these smaller ones. As long as it's like being pulled down and weighted down, that's all that matters. As long as there's tension. Okay, so now once you got that, you can just knit without worrying about pulling the needles back out. Okay, and here's the thing. Sometimes it does not always work. So, like that, see? That's okay. You're just gonna make sure that the little spoon fella is in between the top yarn and that last loop that you just made. And you're just gonna knit it by hand. Okay. And because I had to do that with a couple of them, I'm just gonna pull all the needles back out to D. Okay? And I'm actually gonna add, I am like excessive with my weight use, so I'm gonna add 2 just so I make sure that those 2 end loops are also getting tension so that not all the weight is just sitting in the center. Okay? And then make sure that you're pulling more yarn off of your skein. Good. And once you have reached a length that you like for your knitting, can you guys see how it's on the back? That's the stockinette. And then this is the back side. These are like the purl stitches. And these are the net stitches. So once you have it to a length that you like, you can decide to bind off. This is how you bind off. So you're gonna take the yarn and you're gonna hold it. And then you're gonna take one of these little tools, which is like, it's got like a little loop on one side and like 2 or 3 loops on the other side. You're gonna take the side that has 1 loop and you're gonna pull out the needle, okay? And then from here, you're gonna push it back in. So that little spoon's gonna close onto the latch and you're gonna have your yarn on this on this tool. And from there, you're gonna put your tool back on this hook, pull it out, so that they're both on the second needle from the end. Once you have both of those loops on your needle, and you're gonna have them past this little spoon thing and past the hook, obviously, you are going to take your yarn and loop it from the left side over to the right, kind of like the E-wrap, and you're gonna hold it down here. And then you're gonna take, let's see if I can move you out just a little bit. Okay, you're gonna take the little like lever thing that moves the needle. You're gonna take it and you're gonna loop it through both of them. So you see how like the little latch spoon thing closed over the yarn that we're holding, and you're gonna pull it through both of those loops. Okay, then you're gonna push it all the way out so it goes past the lever. And you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna close that needle, and then the yarn's gonna be on your tool. You're gonna put it on the next needle, pull it all the way out, loop the yarn around, and then I like to keep a finger on the swatch, like on the actual knitted piece, so that it holds those loops back. Then you're gonna close the loop up into that hook, pull it all the way through. And then you're gonna push it all the way out. And then you're gonna do it again. So you're gonna get the tool on the next needle, loop it around, push it back, go all the way out, hook the tool onto the hook, move the loop to the left, go around, pull it through. And this is why we have to keep the carriage on the right side when we end, because we need to work left to right. Okay, so you're gonna push it all the way out, move it over, get them both on the same hook, on the same needle, loop it around, pull by hand. Oh, see how it kind of came off? That's okay. Just need to make sure you can kind of tighten it by pulling that extra yarn, by pulling it over here. Okay, and push it all the way out. And that's why I kind of like to keep a hand on it so that it stays a little bit more tense. I'm gonna move this over. And if your yarn, like if you have a higher tension on your yarn, or like more tension I should say, because then your setting will be lower on the carriage, then it's gonna be a little bit harder to get these needles off. You might have to like wiggle the tool a little bit, like this, like to like get it off the hook. That's fine. And then, there you go. And then once you get to the end, you're gonna do this on the last one, but here's what you're gonna do. I'm gonna grab the weights off of the swatch, put them to the side, because I don't want to pull this super tight once it gets off the last hook. So once it's on that last hook, once you've done the last loop, you're gonna have this kind of loop situation right here. I like to pull it a little extra wide. Grab some fabric scissors, cut the excess yarn, and then you're just gonna loop it through and knot it. Okay, pull it tight, so it's like that, and then you'll take like a crochet hook, and you'll, like you did with hand knitting, you'll take a crochet hook and like weave it through. Okay, there's your butterfly clip. You can get rid of that. I would do the same thing with this. And there you go. There's your first swatch. Isn't that gorgeous? Don't you love it?